Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. It's been a while since I've done a video in the shop. I thought it would be a little fun to come out here and work on a project with you. YouTube makes these recommendations nowadays to creators. It's like, you've got people that are looking for how to do this or how to do that or information on this particular subject or that particular subject. I rarely ever pay attention to the recommendations because most of the videos I do are just based on things that interest me at the time. But it just so happens that one of their recommendations was a video on axe repair or hatchet repair. And I just happened to have a project, so I figured I'd go ahead and fulfill one of their recommendations with a quick repair. So this hatchet is like a $25 hatchet from Harbor Freight. And I bought this because somebody had made a recommendation that these were good. These were good hatchets, and you can clean them up and turn them into, a pretty cool looking hatchet. They'd scrape off all the paint on the blade. They sanded the handle, got all the clear lacquer off of it. To be honest with you, I don't understand why anybody would go through that much work on this hatchet. It's not a very well-designed hatchet. The grip is really thick and heavy. Now I had purchased this, and the steel's not that great, to be honest with you. But I had purchased this for my wife because we're constantly doing work. She likes using a hatchet, and I put her on a little wild goose, what was it, like a treasure hunt thing last year for our anniversary, where as she went around, she got different gifts. And this was one of the gifts, this and throwing knives. To give you guys a little insight into my wife, she looks petite and pretty, but she's very capable when it comes to blades. She doesn't like this. I don't blame her. This is not a great hatchet. So for 20 bucks, probably less than that, I was able to get this old plum hatchet from a flea market in Raleigh, and this is a great hatchet. I mean, for those of you who know anything about plum, these were some great American hatchets made. This one's a fairly old one. It's got a little nick in the blade, which I'm not too concerned about. I'd rather wear it down than sit there and try and file that nick out of the blade, because this is a hatchet that we're going to put into use. Now the problem with this hatchet is the head is a little bit loose. I mean, you can tighten it up, but it's just going to come loose again. And so I need to be able to remove this head and do some repairs to it. So what I thought we'd do is I'd show you how I go about removing the old head and making these simple repairs to the handle. Otherwise, I love the balance of this. The handle is significantly smaller, narrower. You can get a better grip on it than this $25 hatchet from Harbor Freight. So overall, I think that this is a great hatchet for my wife to use. And like I said, it was only 20 bucks. I actually got two of them, so between the two of them, they were discounted even more. So, let's see, I'm going to go with this. First thing I need to do is get the old handle out. I don't want to cause a whole lot of damage to this hatchet, or the handle, because I'm going to reuse the handle. I like that handle. All I need to do is firm up my handle. Put a new wedge in there. Hopefully make it a little better than it was. I'm not sure that my idea here was going to work. I had another clamp around here somewhere that had the head broken off. This might work. Let's see. What I'm going to try and do is just slowly push the handle out. It's not going to work. That's going to be a little too big, I think. Well, try first. I think that there are a number of ways that you could do this. Just by pulling it, I slipped it down quite a bit, about a little over 1/4 of an inch of the way down there. What I might do now is just try and tap it out. I was going to try and use a clamp to very carefully remove it, but the clamp's not going to fit down in there. So I'm going to try it this way. Again, I don't want to ruin the handle as I do this. Okay, well that was not a lot of fun, but I eventually got this thing off, and I've been trying to get in there with just a brush to kind of clean out all the junk that was in there from the previous one. It's like there's pieces of wood stuck down in there. Let's see if I can get a screwdriver and get that out or something. So basically I had to keep tapping on it until I got that handle out, and it eventually came. Used a little bit of head oil in there just to help maybe lubricate it a little bit coming out. Wasn't the easiest thing I've ever done, I'll tell you that much. All right, so I think I've got this pretty clean. Yeah, and I've taken the old wedge out of here. There's not a whole lot of wood on this side of the handle. It's mainly on that side of the handle, but as long as I can get this new wedge to pound in there, I think it'll be okay, because once you get all that wood wedged in there, it should hold it pretty nicely. So now I'm going to go through the process of putting the handle back on. Seems to be about as easy as taking it off was. If this doesn't work, I'll just have to get a new handle for it, but I'm hoping it will work. I have an idea here. I'm going to squeeze it. Down tight right here just to get to go in. There we go. Give it a couple taps here. Now, with these handles, you're actually going to turn it upside down like this and tap it in from this side. So the weight kind of does the work for you. Got it in there pretty good. Just give it a few more whacks just to make sure. I took a little bit off the tip of the handle because I had to clean it up a little bit from my massacring of the handle to get it out. I'm going to take this wood piece here and tap it in from the top. Okay, so my last step here is going to be to cut off the excess wood from the top of the handle. So I'm using an X-Acto knife, just kind of make a cut across the grain. And then, just like you would a shim to a doorway, just pop that off. And this isn't the most perfect job in the world because I did do some chewing up on the top of that head. but it appears to be staying in there just fine. Now I'm just going to tap in just for a little extra security. One of these metal wedges, because it's a pretty old handle that I'm reusing here. Okay, so it's not the prettiest job in the world. You know, if I had a new handle, it probably would have looked a lot prettier. Part of the reason why it's not so pretty is just the simple fact that the top of the old handle is so chewed up, but it feels pretty solid in there. So I'm gonna take this outside and test it out, give it a few whacks, maybe take it out in the field with me today and see how it performs. But I feel like I did a fairly decent job at getting that handle back on there. I mean, it feels pretty gosh darn snug right now. I just give this 1 or 2 good taps that way. But for the most part, you know, putting that metal cross piece in there is probably going to help out a lot with the older wood of the handle. But we'll find out. I mean, this is a pretty inexpensive hatchet if it works. 20 bucks for an old hatchet. And like I said, I like the handle. I could always remove this handle and do some other repair work to it. It's been chewed up a lot over the years, so people have obviously replaced the handle a few times, but let's go see how it does. Staying in there pretty good. Yeah, staying on pretty snug. All right.